What up? It's your boy AJ back with Daily Sports Talk. Some good games last night, so let's just dive straight in today. Um, First game of the night we had Pistons 76ers. Um, what an upset win for the Pistons. No Joel Embiid last night, so Tobias Harris, these other guys on the 76ers had to step up. They took care of the ball. They only had 9 turnovers, 12 steals. They were moving the ball around, 15 assists. They lost the rebound battle, but not by much. They shot decent from the three, good from the floor, but they still ended up losing this game, 119 to 104. And on the opposite side, Delonte Wright was big, 28, 9 and 7, 2 steals. They out-rebounded them about 47 to 36. More assists, so the Pistons are really moving the ball around. And, they did have 18 turnovers, but they still were able to get enough stops on the 76ers and win this game. They came out to a strong first quarter, and then they were able to continue to score while getting stops. And that's why they were able to keep their lead throughout the game. This game last night was one of those games where I look back and say, yeah, AJ, you got it right. Because the guy that I have up there on number one, he wasn't there last night. And look what happened. They lose to the worst team in basketball. It's just like A equals B, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's 1 plus 1 equals 2. It's ABC, it's elementary. That's the reason they lost, because they didn't have their best player, their most valuable guy on the court, and it was evident last night. Without him, they just weren't the same team. Tobias Harris tried to step up, 25, 7 and 2, but it just wasn't enough. Nobody could really take the game over enough once they were in that little hole to bounce them back. So the Pistons won that game, a great win for the Pistons, and just a learning point for the 76ers moving forward. Then we got Raptors-Pacers. The Pacers took that game 129 to 114, and the Pacers can score. They really can. They can score, and they can score very efficiently. The Raptors had won a game previously. They were feeling themselves a little bit. The Raptors are very, very deep. 3-6. They play pretty much like 14 guys, and they all play pretty good minutes. But last night they stuck with about 8 was in the main rotation, and those guys were playing well. Van Fleet showed me at least why I think that he's the best player. 3 of 5 from the 3-point line, 25 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block. He was everywhere, but they just weren't able to stop the Pacers from scoring. The Pacers, had a similar turnover ratio, so they weren't giving the Raptors any easy opportunities to score the ball. I already said that the Pacers were one of the better 3-and-D teams in the league. Them, the Jazz, the Lakers if they're hot. And last night they were 41% from 3, 50% from the field, 82% from the free throw line, and the Pacers are getting closer and closer to being a 50 and 40 and 90 team overall, and that as a team, as a unit, is very, very, very scary to see. The Raptors played a good game last night. Through 3 quarters, they were neck and neck. They were right with the Pacers, matching their tempo, matching their scoring, getting some stops. But in the fourth quarter, the Pacers just came alive, and they just cannot be stopped. The Pacers won the fourth quarter 31 to 17. So it was just they just ran away with it, and Malcolm Brogdon had a big game. to big game last night to win 129 to 114. He had 36, 9, and 7. So I really do like Malcolm Brogdon. I think he's a very, very good player. This year, he's looking like he's one of the more underrated players. So I think him and Jeremy Grant are up there right now so far for most improved player. But you know, the Pacers are rolling right now. So and they don't really need to always be so hot just to keep their streak going. They just play very good fundamental defense and fundamental offense, and they win games. So Magic, Hornets. Magic won that game 117 to 108. Vucevic was that player of the game. 28, 12, and 7. Like I said, the first time they went around, they're very similar. And I thought the Hornets were slightly better because of their scoring options, but last night the Magic just showed them that that they can score as well. The first quarter, Hornets go up 30-19. Second quarter, the Magic win that 36-24. So it was a bounce back and forth game. And in the third quarter, the Magic came out strong again, 32-22. That put the Hornets in a deficit. Now the Hornets were able to match them in the fourth, but they weren't able to get enough stops in the fourth to close the gap. They had 3 guys with 20 plus for the Hornets. Decent off the bench. They only go 4 deep off the bench. And they had 30 points off the bench, which is it's decent, but you're gonna need a little bit more from your bench unit if you want to compete, especially with a team that's not like crazy loaded with talent. 14 turnovers, you gotta take care of the ball a little more. But they turn the ball over, but about the same time about the same amount that the Magic did. But the Magic were able to capitalize, and they shot it way better from 3-point line. Which the Hornets, if they're streaking right, they can shoot well from 3. But last night they did not. They only made 11 threes, 29%, and the Magic had 19 threes, and they shot 50% from the line. And that right there, that was pretty much the game. When you trade 2s for 3s, most likely, most of the time, you're not going to win that game. All right, let's go. Nets Heat. The Nets won that game 98-85. And they still, the Nets, when I say they still let their figuring it out on the fly. They look dynamic though as they're doing it. Last night was a low scoring game for them, but I think that's because they were trying to really start to focus on the defensive side of the ball, not as much as trying to go and have a scoring battle, because that does get a little tiring trying to do every night. And this team's gonna need to be ready and healthy for the playoffs. I know it's still early, but if you can use this regular season to practice your continuity on defense and moving on a string and talking and communicating and win games under 100 points or near 100, then when the time comes, and you need to win a game like that in the playoffs, you know how to. So 20 from Durant, 16 from Kyrie, 20 from Harden, 12 from Harris. They were spread out last night, but like I said, they were focusing on the defensive side of the ball. They weren't really rushing a lot, so they only had 7 turnovers. They won the rebound battle slightly, and they were able to force turnovers on the Heat, like I said, in their ability to lock down and start to commit to that side of the ball. Again, there was no Hero, no Leonard, no Butler, but the Heat are still not a team that you can take lightly. So it was a good challenge for them to step up, and they ended up winning that challenge, and they took the game 98-85. Harden had 28 and 4. Next game of the night, LeBron James returns to his homeland, Cleveland, Ohio. And the Cavs are, like I said, the Cavs are not a bad team. They play hot cold, but as of lately they've been on the up. And they had that monster down there, and Andre Drummond, who just scores, putbacks, easy layups, and then who dominates the glass. And of course, last night he still did dominate the glass. 17 rebounds, 25 points for Andre Drummond. But LeBron loves narratives, and his return back home was not going to be upstaged by anybody. And he goes for 46, 8, and 6. Big game from LeBron James. All night long, he was just doing it. He was handing out the business all night long. 2 steals, 2 blocks. He was everywhere. Shot 7 of 11 from 3-point. That's looking better than it has in the past. He's starting to hit those 3-point shots a lot easier, and he looks more comfortable there. And he's shooting 7 for 11. That's very efficient. And then from the floor, he's 19 of 26. That's extremely efficient. The rest of his team, Caldwell goes 1 of 8 from 3. Anthony Davis goes 0 for 3 from 3. So those guys need to be able to make shots. But I like that they're not going away from the 3, because that's part of their identity, and that's part of why they're so good, that they can play defense.